Thank you, Bindu, for that sweet introduction, and very, very happy to see you and everyone here also. Uh, I find it very interesting, but I will not share about that very. We will come to that through the topic. Like there's too many overcomings in this healing we have had. So there is another overcoming today, which is overcoming moods. I want to start with the Mahabharata allegory. We all know the story of Mahabharata, isn't it? And then we also know that the way Yogananda ji explained it is that that story is allegorical. And if you see, like the battle of the Kurukshetra is actually towards the last portion of the story, but there is a whole big drama which actually starts and continues for quite some time in that story. And during the battle, just before the battle, it is told that when Arjuna was asked, Arjuna, go ahead, and now you have to start the battle, Arjuna actually says, no, I can't. Now, I want all of you just to put yourself into the shoes of Arjuna for a moment. Now, allegorically, again, some of you or probably all of you know the allegory of the way Master Paramhansa Yogananda ji taught. So here, there is Arjuna, which is you, and you are facing all these foes like desires. We sing this chant all the time, desire my great enemy, me and Bindu, and I'm sure all of you have also sang it so many times. Great enemy. Then there is attachment. Then there is ego. Then there is an habit force. And I'll add one more, which is the topic today, like mood, one of the Kauravas, let's call them. All this you're seeing, and what is Arjuna telling? I don't want to fight. And not because he is afraid of them, that they're too big a force. Is because why does he say, I won't fight? Because they're my own, he says. They're my cousins. I love them. I have been growing up with them. Desires, attachments, habit forces, ego, name it. And today's topic also, moods. He says, I've been growing up with them. And that's why I won't fight them. Now, we say, but no, I have been chanting all along, desire is my great enemy. The topic today is overcoming moods. Where are we going with this? And that is what I think we want to pause for a moment. There is a journey between, like even before Arjuna was faced this dilemma and he decides, I am going to fight. Again, Krishna gives him a full gyan and he prepares himself why it is relevant. And I think that journey itself is also required for some times for us, because in some ways, mood is just another energy form. We covered overcoming anger. So why are we today here discussing overcoming moods again? Because in your experience, now this may not be universal experience, so I have to be cautious. Do you face trouble with moods from time to time? I hope you do. That's why probably you are here. I'm not just testing what I'm tell you. And mood, we use this word in both cases. Sometimes we say, yeah, today Bindu looks like in a good mood. And then she says like, but Amit is not looking in a very positive, or it's a difficult mood. And then that's it, right? When we are in a good mood, we go ahead and then we have a possibility. We are ready to meet the world. But if we are not in one of those or one of those gloomy times of ourselves, then we say, nah, not today. Today is the day to close the door and switch on the television or just open a book or just be not ready for the world. And think about it, like whether we are ready for the world or not, the world still continues. It is not waiting for, today Amit is in the mood, so maybe we should just take a pause. How about that? And then the world may still outwardly take a pause if I'm in a position of a responsibility, but the larger world, the way, the cosmos, the existence doesn't stop. Everything what we call as nature doesn't stop. So I am in a good mood. Now I am here ready for my life, and I am not in a good mood. I'm not ready for my life. Life still continues one way or the other. So we all want to say, no, I want to be ready all the time. And that's why probably all of us are here. I want to overcome all them so that I am always ready. But what's the catch? If we're so ready and yet we keep coming again and again to the topic of, maybe it could be anger, it could be again talking about mood. I mean, mood seems much smaller when we talk about like anger or difficult emotion. All these things come under that category. What stops us from actually um, overcoming them? That's the theme. We have the tools. I can name actually all of you. The one I'm seeing on the screen here will name a few tools which Master gave, and I'm sure some of us have practiced them, all of us, and yet it remains. Not that all the time it remains, but it is not done. And that's where I think, again, the way we began, it is important. Like Arjuna said, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. You see, it's not the best example, but I had a bad habit, smoking. I will tell you a funny story, that way you won't judge me directly like that. Not that you are going to judge me, but we started very late. And why? Because some of our friends used to smoke. And I said, like, you got to quit this habit. It is just destroying your health. And he says, have you ever smoked? We said, no. So you have no idea how difficult it is. I said, okay, we will show you how to do it. I said, okay, but for that, you first need to be in our shoes. Otherwise, don't give this gyan. So me and one of other my friend, couple of us, we decided to get into that so that we can show them by our example how it can be done. And what happened? 6 months, I said, you need to continue what we do with us. And then after that, let's see. So 6 months we practiced. We taught ourselves how to smoke and all those kind of things. And in 6 months, we can see ourselves. By morning, I wake up, I needed that. That was the first thing. I said, okay, now we're ready. But we forgot about the thing. Now we were so caught up in that thing. We realized that this is difficult. Then I forgot that we all started to help our friend. Now there we found ourselves struggling to quit and quit and quit. It took 5 long years before we ourselves quit. I don't even remember. I don't even know even to this date if my friends ended up giving it or not. But again, I remember that phase when many times the thought came across, see, this is not good. You remember why we got into this in the first place? We should stop. I said, then in the morning, I'll wake up. And then while I slept off with a very beautiful, positive thought about it, but the moment I wake up, like everything about me is looking for it. It is so nice when you have a little chai and a little puff. Gives such a temporary pleasure. I understood it, but it's giving. And there it will just go away and on and on. Not the best example, as I said, but still there is something about it. See, we call desire is my great enemy. Moods is not my friends. And yet, if it is so clear, why do we indulge in it? It is so simple as that, isn't it? It's like the children. We say we are adult. We say a child, no, don't touch it. It is hot. The child goes and touch it. Now we tell this story, and yet we are doing the same thing. We all know, like nobody is here trying to convince anybody we should never get angry. We all agree to that. We should never indulge in our mood. It is very bad for us. And yet the satsang gets over and tomorrow says, I'm not feeling like today. We have some more spiritual words to accept or hide that what is actually happening inside ourselves. But we all know experientially it isn't. And that, if you reflect, why? Because I think part of us, there are two sides of it. One, we feel that we need to overcome all these things because we are studying the spiritual scriptures. We're studying, we say that this is not helpful in the long run for spiritual growth, which is all true in its space. But what that actually creates is like some fake image of ourselves. I will be free from anger. I'll be free from, and then I will be much better human being. And that is true. When we are not angry, when we are not in any mood, we feel that this is a better version of myself and this remains, it would be better. So that's a very healthy and good possibility. And yet, we want a quick fix to maintain that identity of ourselves. I want to be the one who is always smiling. So we have an image about ourselves, what that would look like. And if anything comes in between, oh my goodness, I got a mood today, so I am not. And then we became a little upset. You leave the self-image aside, no? So our battle will have a little bit more depth. I will complete that story in a very positive way. See, I fought for like 4 or 5 years. So one day I realized that I don't want this. It may not be hurting my health. It's okay. It may not be. That was all aside. That day I decided, no, I don't want this habit anymore. So next day morning when I woke up now, everything, the body, mind was still looking for that. It's like, now it is our pleasure time. No, but I said, no, I don't want this. Does that make it easy? Absolutely not. I still remember it takes those 3 days, but those 3 days felt like eternity. You see, like time slows down in those times. But there was a determination in a sense, and not wasn't a determination I was putting like strong will or affirmation. It was a clear, we're not doing this. And what that meant is I am refusing myself those tiny joys or happiness I was deriving out of that habit. See, our pleasures, our desires, or even in our indulgence in the moods, if they don't give us any happiness or temporary solace, no, why would we do it? We would not. We indulge because we say this is the only possibility, and when we do it, how do I get it? Just go with the flow and it will go over soon. No. When we say, okay, this is not the direction I want to go anymore, we put our foot down. Does it reverses the flow? In time, yes. But there is a period when we refuse to go with that flow. It is almost like you are swimming against the river. It feels like that. And it is not the river of life, the river that we have created within ourselves by our habits. Swamiji writes in the book Conversations of Yogananda, habits is what, or sorry, moods is what it is past indulgence. Why do we indulge in past in many things? Is because that brings us small, tiny pleasures. The stronger the indulgence, stronger is vivritti, stronger is the mood. One day, if we decide that this is not for me, you will feel, we all will feel we're swimming against the current. But that's the only way. And then it inevitably stops. So, see, I'll end with this story. Uh, there is a very beautiful documentary I watched about, it's called March of Penguins. I'm very fascinated by the life of penguin. Very yogi kind of a life they live. Completely hard, how do you say? No, it's very austere in many ways and yet very determined, and then they do it over a long period of time. Anyway, that's a separate part of the story, but they also say that normally the penguins like us, there's a community. They all go in a community, all, and they stay. That's community is their strength. They all go to the ocean together, they swim, and then they fish, and then they come back and do this repeat many times. So there's sometimes when the community or the group of penguins are going to the ocean, sometimes a penguin turns away from the flock and heads instead of the sea towards the mountain. And they say nobody knows why they do it. And even if you try to bring that penguin back to the flock, he refuses. And they say that the moment he is turning to the mountain, it feels that it is a certain death. There is no fish there, there's no food there. The only reason they're going to the ocean is for food. But he says, no, I'm going the other direction. That kind of a determination, sometimes comes in our heart. See, we want, and then the moment that comes, we just drop it. See, the practice comes to perfect our own created image. We want to look in a certain way. And that's why it doesn't last. till we make that journey. Arjuna had to be convinced within ourselves also, that Arjuna had to be convinced till the point he says, okay, let's fight. The moment we decide truly that we are going to fight, that itself means the victory is inevitable. Hmm? But I want to make a distinction between when we choose to fight. And that fight is not for anybody else. It is not for our own self-image or our own understanding too. It is just that this is not for me anymore. And that comes inevitably for all of us when we actually give that time to just look at whatever it is. We have to look, we have to give an opportunity to look every portion of ourselves. You see, when we say that the Mahabharata happens inside, meaning what? The 100 Kauravas and plus all their friends are inside us. We cannot just wish away them, saying, no, no, I am a good guy, or a gal, most of you. It is not, that's not the end of Mahabharata. It will be very convenient. When we acknowledge their presence, we don't need to announce it to the world, but to ourselves we need to acknowledge. Because that acknowledgement will falsify this person inside me, which is trying to present me as I'm full of Pandavas only. Kauravas we left long time ago. This is only the person who is protecting this, the only interest he has is to preserve that self-image. But Bindu said so many good things about me. You see me in one of my moods, and then what? Next time you won't even come for any of this Wednesday satsang. But it is not important. I can maybe pass this entire lifetime creating the beautiful self-image. You will never catch me. I have doors to my room anyway. I've figured it out how I can hide. I can't hide from myself. Hiding doesn't help. They're there. When we drop that thought and then say, okay, they are there. What can I do about it? Then I look at, why do I even go with them? Why do they feel so much closer to my heart? And the reality is as simple as that they are the way I enjoy this life. Desires and indulging in moods and all sorts of things, part of my everyday, because these are the small, tiny joys of my life. This is an eye-opening realization. And then we see, but is this the way I want to live? Because the alternative is unknown. Like the penguin started walking to the unknown. It is going to deny ourselves that familiar joys of life, familiar warmth, as Master calls it. But I think in your heart, you know, that is what is required. And the moment we decide this is it, then the mood comes, we're not going that direction. Not because somebody says it is bad, not because we read it is bad, not because it is bad. It is just that not for us. We have chosen a direction elsewhere. We will walk against the currents if it comes to that. And that's where the battle begins. And beginning of the battle itself is a guaranteed victory. So with that, I'll take a pause. Let's close our eyes. Feeling the energy of this satsang is thoughts of the masters. Let's share this energy with everyone who is in need. Let they be guided, helped in their next step, in whatever situation they are. Let's chant Om 3 times. Om. 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 Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you very much.